Good evening. Thank you for presenting the proposal today and your explanation for.
Hold the microphone a little bit closer.
Yes. Again, thank you again for allowing me this time to speak, and thank you for the presentation and the extra study session to allow an explanation to come forth. I want to express to you that I'm not speaking solely on my behalf, but a number of residents, number of the constituents, a number of organizations. When I presented the questions that the application posed and the ordinance amendment posed, there are significant questions that unfortunately are still left unanswered. I believe the purpose of the ordinance is clearly stated under the purpose heading. It gives you exactly what the purpose of this ordinance is supposed to do. And I think after contemplation, deliberation, conversation, argument with other residents, we've come to the conclusion that the amendments to the ordinance kind of eviscerate what the purpose of this ordinance is for. In its entirety, in summary, I would like to say that we believe the purpose of the ordinance is to protect a piece of land that has a significant feature, whether it be a natural feature or historic feature, some feature that if we developed it according to the zoning restrictions that are currently in place, we could possibly eliminate the feature that makes that property unique. And so we have this tweak to our zoning laws that say, you know what, we're going to take this into consideration and allow some subtle changes to that law to accommodate this feature that makes this part of the community unique. And what we've done by these changes and amendments, I believe we've done a number of things. First of all, we have not, to my knowledge, increased the security or the safety that the provisions currently enumerated provide us, right? So we've got provisions that have been removed. And we were glanced over here, 2.4, I believe it's 22.4 to 22.8. We talk about this flow chart that says the process stays the same. Well, it eviscerates the 300-foot notice. It's eliminated. It is one of the most significant parts of this ordinance because it provides the protection to adjacent landowners that say, hey, you know what, we're going to tell you that we got something going on with this property, and it takes it right out. The other thing it does is it adds a caveat, and I think it was pointed out by one of the board members. Not only can the amendment be used to preserve a piece of property that has this unique feature, but if it doesn't have a unique feature and it's just like any other piece of property, we'll create some uniqueness about it, thereby making it applicable to any piece of land. So now it becomes more incumbent upon the residents of the entire community to say, we've just changed this ordinance to say any monopoly game that's played where we're buying up 2 or 3 large parcels of property that equal this 40 acres, we can now shave it all off, put something in there called an amenity, and then it can take the place of a natural or one of the unique aesthetic qualities of that property. So it substantively changes the ordinance. It actually conflicts with the purpose of the ordinance by making those changes. So I don't know how you reconcile the amendments as they're stated. And what I've done in the very limited time that I've had is I've prepared a questionnaire, and it's by the changes that I saw in the application that was submitted. Just to let the board members look over the questions to say, how does this protect the community? How do these changes add more protection, as Mr. Bennett says, than we would have without the changes? And how does it protect the discretionary powers given to the Planning Commission? We elect these people into that body because of their knowledge of the community, because of their experience, because of the information they have regarding specific parts of the community, so that if there is discretion to be used, we've empowered these guys to use that discretion. Some of these amendments eviscerate that discretion, take the power away from the Planning Commission, boost it up to the board, which now has additional powers. The other piece of this is that there's accountability provisions that are taken away. The recording of decisions is stricken from the ordinance. You no longer have to record why a certain change was accepted. So I'm just saying, if you could take a look deeply into this, and I know there's a lot of time being exhausted on some of these amendments, but I believe we pay resources to do this, and there may be explanations, and I would say if there are explanations for the questions that I've summarized, and again, these are not questions by a disgruntled homeowner who's adjacent to this property that's accepting what's going on. These are widespread changes that will affect and impact the rest of the community in ways we don't yet understand. So I think the Zoning Enabling Act has enough provisions in it as it exists, and there's some valid and good tweaks in here, to address certain changes that a prospective property owner or prospective purchaser to that property might want if they were to purchase it, that we don't have to eviscerate the protections that were provided in this ordinance specifically to that end. And so I just ask if you could just review. I only had time to print up 3 of these questions, or three copies before I left, scrambled out of the office today to get here, but that's pretty much basically what I had to say. Thank you.
Any comments or questions by